Today, I'll quickly be giving you some information that'll help you in Halo Infinite. First, I'll rapid fire off some small, basic tips and tricks before getting a tad more in-depth with positioning and awareness. Whether you're new to the Halo franchise, new to first-person shooter games in general, or a little more experienced and wondering if I perhaps have info you possibly missed, this video is for you. Let's start with two obvious but often overlooked tips. In-game tips reference these, but there might be some confusion I want to hammer down, or you might miss them like I did starting out, even as a legacy Halo player. 1. Pace your shots with the assault rifle and sidekick pistol. Bloom, which is the gradual increase of random spread in your shots as you fire without stopping, is more significant than you think, and can cause these two weapons to feel unreliable or inconsistent. Any weapon where your crosshair is moving and expanding while shooting has Bloom. For example, the Commando also has Bloom you should manage. I'm just focusing on the assault rifle and sidekick since you spawn with those weapons in casual modes, and thus will probably be using them more often. Find what works best for you in the firing range. I briefly let off the trigger when firing the AR to a weird rhythm. That's even a tip the game gives, to fire in bursts. Of course, closer range you don't have to worry about spread so much since you'll still probably hit the enemy, but even a little distance is enough for Bloom to start ruining what should be clean kills. The second adjustment I made is shooting the head. Wait, I know that sounds stupid. Some weapons you obviously shoot the head on unshielded opponents. It's a one-shot kill and there's a little thing in the kill feed representing the headshot. But you should be shooting the unshielded head with almost every weapon, even if the game doesn't say it's a headshot kill. No, I said almost every weapon. Like with the assault rifle. Look at the difference between body and headshots. 2 bullets versus 5. Or the plasma pistol's 3 shots versus 10. I always had a battle rifle in old games, but things are different now, and learning headshots matter even on non-precision weapons is massive when you start with an assault rifle. Additional note, in case you don't know, headshots don't matter on shielded opponents with few exceptions, like the sniper rifle. The headshots matter once you pop the enemy's shields, signified by this noise, and that tiny colorful explosion on their body visually. Power weapons are everything. Seriously, they should be your #1 priority most of the time. A power weapon easily single-handedly controls the momentum of the game in 4 versus 4. Even when you're dealing with the objective, you should at least have power weapons in your mind, as protecting the oddball now might get your whole team rolled by rockets in a few seconds. By power weapons, I mean the ones marked on your HUD, including spawn timing. You figure out which weapons are power weapons just by playing, but if the game is telling you where it is and when it comes up, that's a good indicator. Stuff like the sniper rifle, skewer, rocket launcher, cinder shot, and so on. Overshield and active camo count too. Vehicles are nice, but the shock weapons lying around can disable those, so be careful. If you don't sprint with active camo, you do not show up on the motion sensor. You also retain your invisibility completely. Sprinting ruins both those, so try not to sprint with active camo activated. Frag grenades explode shortly after touching the ground. Use this to help control the explosion point. For example, if you're being chased, chuck one downward. In extension to that, pick your fights and play them smartly sometimes. If your enemy has a better position or something like that, get the hell out of there. Like if they have the high ground, you're usually not winning that. Fighting isn't just 2 people in the open going at it. I mean, it can be, it is actually a lot of the time, but it doesn't have to be. Bait opponents around corners, duck behind cover, leave grenades in your trail. There's a lot you can do beyond just trying to outshoot someone. Again, a lot of fights do come down to outshooting people. I'm just saying it's not the only way. Now for positioning and awareness. Starting with your most useful resource, your teammates. That sounds sociopathic, but you get what I mean. Your teammates provide so much information about the enemy without even saying a word. If you look at where your teammates are, you have a good idea where the enemies can come from. Unless a teammate is in a firefight, the enemies are where your team isn't. Use this information to help decide where you're moving and how cautiously you do so. Sticking near teammates means you can run to them and help easily or be helped easily. You don't have to cling to their leg the whole match. You have room for independence independence, but their positions and status is information to always keep in mind. What direction is your team shooting? Teammate death markers are obvious points of interest. Where were they killed from? It's like a breadcrumb your enemies leave behind, cluing you in to enemy movement. Map layout knowledge in the form of knowing various routes is very useful. For example, this air conditioner allows you to sneak into an area people commonly hang out and shoot across. Map knowledge also helps you navigate more safely and efficiently. I define a good position as one that gives you nice angles or lines of sight, but also has good cover and an escape route in case of an emergency. High ground is an obvious example of this. Basically, just try to move and look in a way that minimizes your risk based on where you think the enemies are or might come from. Don't forget, teammate status helps a lot in making these decisions. There's more tips and information out there not covered here. Stuff like predict your enemies and strafe while shooting that I imagine you'll figure out on your own or hear from other sources. I also probably forgot some things to mention. Either way, these past points are what I wanted to share most. I know they're not esports pro level insights, but I think if any of them are new information, they're the kind of things that make you go, well, I'm glad I know this now. At the least, conscious awareness of things like my teammate advice will likely be beneficial. I hope this video helped you. Thanks for watching.